I never meant to reveal my secret at my brother Marcus's wedding. For over 10 years, I let my family believe I worked at a small consulting company, nothing special, just a regular job. Meanwhile, I was building a business empire behind the scenes. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't feel the need to prove myself to people who had already decided I wasn't worth paying attention to. But that night, everything changed. The wedding was being held at the Grand Plaza Hotel, exactly the kind of place Marcus loved. Everything sparkled, big chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and the tables were covered with flowers and gold trim. Waiters walked around with trays of champagne. I wore a simple navy dress. On purpose. I didn't want to stand out. I was just there to support my brother, despite everything. Then my mother found me. "There you are," she said sharply. "Why are you hiding? People are asking about you." She gave me a once-over and wrinkled her nose at my plain dress. "Not that there's much to talk about, I suppose." I smiled politely and sipped my champagne. She had no idea that just yesterday, I led a board meeting where we signed off on buying one of our biggest competitors. "I'm doing fine, Mom. Consulting keeps me busy." She rolled her eyes. "Busy isn't the same as successful. Just look at your brother, VP at Sterling Industries, and now marrying the CEO's daughter. That's real success." I almost laughed. Sterling Industries was barely staying afloat. They'd been trying to set up a meeting with my company's CEO, me, for months. Of course, no one in my family knew I was the founder and CEO of Aurora Consulting Group, one of the biggest advisory firms in the country. As far as they were concerned, I was just Sophie with a cute little job. Then Marcus walked in, loud and proud like always. His new bride Jessica was on his arm, dressed in something expensive and sparkly. "Sophie," Marcus called out, smirking, still hiding in corners. "Some things never change." Jessica laughed. "Marcus told me all about your little consulting job. It's adorable that you're trying to make it on your own." I said nothing, even as the memories came rushing back. How Marcus had struggled in school while I graduated with honors. But Dad pulled strings to get Marcus a job, told me to be more practical when I said I wanted to start a business. They all cheered for Marcus and told me to stay in my lane. Marcus leaned in and spoke just loudly enough for others to hear. "Hey, someone's gotta do the small jobs. At least you're independent, right?" Jessica giggled again. "Be nice, Marcus. Not everyone can be as successful as you." I touched the locket around my neck, a gift from my grandmother. She was the only one who ever believed I could do something great. "Success comes in many forms," I said softly. Marcus waved me off. "Anyway, the CEO of Sterling is coming tonight, Mr. Harrison. He never comes to weddings, but for me, it's a big deal. Try not to embarrass me, okay?" I said nothing. I already knew why Mr. Harrison was coming, to finally meet the elusive CEO of Aurora Consulting, me. Then the room went quiet. James Harrison had arrived, tall, silver-haired, serious. The crowd parted for him like he was royalty. Marcus straightened up, ready to impress, but then Harrison spotted me. His whole face lit up. "Miss Mitchell," he called out, walking directly toward me. "What a surprise. I didn't know you'd be here." Marcus froze. Jessica looked confused. Harrison shook my hand. "We've been trying to meet for weeks. Didn't expect to find you here, at an employee's wedding." I smiled, surprised to see me. He looked around. "Wait. Marcus is your brother?" "Yes," I said, loud enough for people to hear, though he didn't know about my position until now. Silence. My mother looked like she might drop her glass. My father stood there with his mouth open. Marcus looked like his whole world had just flipped upside down. Harrison turned to him. "Your sister is the CEO of Aurora Consulting, but you said she worked at a local firm." "That's what they all thought," I said. I never corrected them. Jessica's glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. That sharp sound broke the silence, and then everyone started whispering. My mother rushed over. "Sophie, darling, why didn't you tell us?" she asked with a fake smile. I looked at her. "You never asked. You were too busy celebrating Marcus to care about my little job." Harrison tried to bring the conversation back. "Ms. Mitchell, perhaps we can discuss the merger." Marcus jumped in, panicked. "Merger? What merger?" I gently removed his hand from my arm. "The one where Aurora Consulting might buy Sterling Industries." I turned to Harrison. "Though I may rethink the deal after tonight." Marcus went white. Jessica looked like she wanted to disappear. But that would make you, Marcus started. Your boss, I finished. Yes. Then Dad pushed through the crowd, red-faced. Now hold on, you can't just walk in here and ruin your brother's wedding with these claims. Harrison raised a hand. She's not making anything up. MS. Mitchell built Aurora Consulting herself. We've been after this merger for months. Dad stared at me, speechless. This was the man who once told me to stop dreaming, the one who emptied my savings to pay for Marcus's MBA because he needed it more. But what about the money? Mom whispered. You said you couldn't help with expenses. You mean the $50,000 I loaned you for Marcus? I said calmly. The money you never paid back? Jessica turned to Marcus. You didn't know about this? About her company? Of course not, Marcus snapped. She's jealous of me. This is some kind of trick. Harrison shook his head. The only mistake here is yours. Aurora Consulting makes more in a year than Sterling has in 5. The room went dead silent. Every eye was on us. My family, my old critics, the wedding guests, they were all watching. And for once, I didn't feel invisible. No, I felt powerful, seen. I didn't plan to reveal the truth that night, but I'm glad I did. It was only the beginning. It all changed at Marcus's wedding. Marcus's wedding was supposed to be the biggest event of the year. The decorations were perfect, the food was 5-star, and the guest list was filled with corporate bigwigs. Everyone was there to celebrate him, but what they didn't expect was the truth I was about to reveal. During the reception, I leaned toward Harrison, my business partner, and said quietly, "We should continue this conversation somewhere private." Then I looked at my family. "Would you excuse us for a moment?" Harrison nodded and stepped away politely. I led my family into a small private room off the ballroom and shut the door behind us. There was a heavy silence before Marcus exploded. "How dare you?" he shouted. "This is my wedding day, couldn't you let me have this one thing?" I laughed, but it was cold. "One thing? Marcus, you've had everything your whole life. Dad's connections got you into Sterling. Mom sold jewelry to pay for your MBA. You used my savings for your failed startup. Meanwhile, I built something real, on my own." My mother clasped her hands together, trying to stay calm. "We were just trying to protect you, sweetheart. The business world can be cruel to women." I shook my head. "No, you weren't protecting me, you were ignoring me. Every time I accomplished something, you brushed it aside, because it didn't fit the image you had of who I should be." My father stepped forward, trying to take control of the situation like he always did. "Sophie, let's not fight. We're family. Let's figure out a solution that benefits everyone." I looked him in the eye. "Now that you know I'm successful, you want to be part of it? Let me be clear, the merger with Sterling is happening because Harrison is a good CEO trapped by a bad board. But after tonight," I turned to Marcus, "there will be changes." "You can't do this," Marcus whispered, looking pale. "My job, my future." "Your job exists because of Jessica's father," I said. "You've lost 3 major clients this year. Your so-called success was built on favors and family money, not hard work." I smoothed my navy dress. "Don't worry, once Aurora acquires Sterling, we'll place you where you actually belong." Jessica gasped. "My father won't let that happen, he's on the board." I looked at her gently. "He called me last week. He wants the merger to go through. Sterling Industries is drowning in debt. Aurora is their only chance." Marcus fell into a chair, like the truth had knocked the wind out of him. "All this time," he said quietly, "while we were laughing at you, I tried to tell you, I tried to show you, but you were too busy celebrating Marcus's every step, too focused on keeping up the image of a perfect family." I walked toward the door. My mother called out, "Sophie, please, we're still family." I paused and turned back. "No, family supports each other, family listens, family doesn't dismiss you or mock your success. You weren't family when I needed you. You don't get to be family now." Then I walked out of the room. Harrison was waiting near the bar with a knowing smile. "Shall we talk merger terms, Ms. Mitchell?" I smiled back. "Yes, I think it's time to reshape Sterling Industries, starting with new leadership." I knew my family was watching me as I walked away. I had always been the one they overlooked, the one they underestimated. Not anymore. The days after the wedding were full of chaos. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. "Sophie, let's talk this out." "Mom, how could you do this to your brother?" "Dad, we need to discuss my role at Sterling." "Marcus, my dad wants to speak with you." Jessica. I ignored every message. I had work to do. On the morning of the board meeting, I stood in my office on the top floor of Aurora Consulting. I wore a tailored black suit, not the soft navy dress from the wedding. This suit meant business, no more hiding. Emma, my assistant, knocked. Your brother's here again, Ms. Mitchell. It's his third visit this week. I sighed. Send him in. Marcus walked in, looking nothing like his usual self. His suit was wrinkled, his tie loose. He looked scared. Sophie, please, you have to listen. I'm listening, I said calmly, sitting behind my desk, although I think I already heard everything in your 37 texts. I know I was awful at the wedding, he said. I know I've been a jerk, but you can't take over Sterling. That company is my life. Your life was built on favors, mine was built on grit. That's not fair. I stood, voice steady. What's not fair is using my savings for your MBA without asking, or mocking me while I built a company from nothing. What's not fair is ignoring everything I achieved because it didn't fit your expectations. He dropped his gaze. I'm sorry. For once, I said, I think you mean it, but that doesn't change what's coming. The board meeting starts in an hour, I added. Get ready. His face went pale. What's going to happen to me? I sat down again. That's up to you. Aurora only keeps people who earn their place. If you want to stay, you'll start in entry-level sales. No more shortcuts. Just then, my parents barged in. Sophie, my mom said tearfully, we've been trying to reach you. I've been busy, I said coolly, running my tiny firm. My dad jumped in. Let's be reasonable. Don't ruin your brother's career over a misunderstanding. I laughed. A misunderstanding? Is that what we're calling years of being ignored now? We made mistakes, my mother admitted, but we're still your family. I pulled out an old photo from my drawer, a family portrait. I was standing slightly apart from the others, wearing a plain dress while they all wore designer outfits. Family mattered when I was struggling, when I was working all night, trying to build something from scratch, but you weren't there. Emma knocked again. Ms. Mitchell, the board is ready. I stood and straightened my jacket. You can watch the meeting from the waiting room. You might learn something. The meeting that changed everything. When I walked into the boardroom, every head turned. James Harrison greeted me with respect. Ms. Mitchell, welcome. Shall we begin? I nodded and took my seat at the head of the table. For the next hour, I presented Aurora's full plan for restructuring Sterling. One by one, I explained the changes, removing deadweight, promoting true talent, fixing departments. No more promotions based on who you know, I said at the end, only what you can do. Through the glass, I saw my family watching. Marcus looked crushed. My parents just stood there, finally realizing what I had become. After the meeting, Harrison approached me. You handled that perfectly. What about your brother? He'll start in entry-level sales if he agrees, I said. No favors. You're more generous than I expected. This isn't revenge, I said, it's about doing what's right. When I walked out, my family was still in the waiting area. They looked smaller somehow. So that's it? Marcus asked quietly. Everything's different now? Everything changed a long time ago, you just didn't notice. I turned to my parents. You'll get new contracts tomorrow, read them carefully. Sophie, my mom said, crying, we were wrong, can we please start over? I looked at her, remembering all the times she ignored me. Starting over would mean forgetting, and I won't forget. Those years taught me something, to believe in myself. My dad asked, then who are you now? I smiled. I'm the woman who built a billion-dollar business while you called it a hobby. I'm the CEO of the company that just saved Sterling Industries, and I'm the daughter who stopped chasing your approval, and chose her own path instead. I walked to the elevator and looked back one last time. The choice is yours, but nothing will ever go back to the way it was. As the doors closed, I saw them standing there, speechless, finally seeing me. Later that night, back in my office, I took out my grandmother's locket. Inside was a note she had written years ago. Success isn't about who believes in you at the end, it's about believing in yourself from the start. I smiled, holding it close. They used to call me the family disappointment. Now, I'm the woman who changed everything. And this was just the beginning.